Okay, so you saw Dune on Tuesday, and Stelios and I saw it opening night. So what did you think of it?
Yeah, I want to hear this.
It was very good.
His look.
It was very good. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't any sort of like Blade Runner 2049, which I thought was incredible. Mm-hmm. It had a lot of the faults of any movie that's like a part one to a series.
Yes.
I liked where they ended up character-wise. I liked, we got Paul with what do you call them?
The Fremen?
Yes.
The Fremen.
I liked the acting. I liked the world building. I liked everything he was doing. I just found it was a movie with a lot of tension, but no thrills. And that's Denis Villeneuve, right? That's sort of his style. He isn't going for action and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of the time, I was like, this is really cool. I'm not that excited. Like, everything was interesting. Like, the voice stuff was interesting. The knife fights were, that's a cool idea and everything, but none of it felt exceptional in execution.
Did you have any previous experience with the mythos or the knowledge of the books?
I've read, I want to say most of the first book. I had to read it in school. I've seen both of the miniseries.
Oh, you've seen the miniseries.
So you're way ahead of me.
From like the early 2000s. I saw it when they first came out. My buddy is a huge Dune fan. And I'm going to watch the David Lynch one this weekend.
Have fun. That one's just kooky. Yeah. I really like the David Lynch
and again, I think it's a really good movie. I did enjoy it. It's just, I think it didn't live up to my expectations, even though my expectations were, I don't know, whatever Dune can be.
So, regardless of the movie, which I think genuinely is a good movie. It's a good movie. It's not like, we're not talking about something that's just like, in today's modern society where all we have is just big budget superhero action flicks, right? Like the vast majority. Yeah. Dune was a really nice change of pace. Now I like Blade Runner 2049. Is it 49? 49, right?
Yeah.
I like it, but I also find that movie incredibly fucking boring. I find it so boring.
Yeah, I couldn't finish it.
But the questions and the things it talks about, like when people are like, "Oh, it's like deep and sophisticated." Well, so was the goddamn Matrix, and that had like cool action too, and like leather and shit like that. That was like the early 90s.
Stelios loves leather.
I love leather. I love it. No.
You wanted that leather jacket. You're like, do you know where I could get one?
I asked Randy about this leather jacket on Facebook. I'm like, do you know if this is legit? Because I really like this particular. Fuck, whatever.
It's one of those fake ads, but yeah.
Point is that okay? Dune today. Why? Like everyone was saying, Dune would not work today. Why?
It can work today.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it could work today exceptionally as like an HBO miniseries, but also it could work as movies because you look at Lord of the Rings, also exceptionally long and detailed books that were executed, I thought, brilliantly on the big screen. So Dune works as a movie and it works well. It just didn't hit, I think, the highest highs for me.
Okay, so then the question becomes, and I've had this conversation already with Randy, does Dune lose a lot of its oomph because they didn't film it back to back? Only now did the second part get greenlit.
Yeah, and I think part of that's because even Blade Runner 2049 didn't excel at the box office. So, like, Denis Villeneuve isn't a proven box office attraction. But that to be said, I mean, Peter Jackson wasn't really that thing when he made Lord of the Rings and convinced New Line to be like, we're not doing 2 movies, we're doing 3. And somehow he convinced them to do 3 back-to-back.
Have you seen Peter Jackson's early stuff? Like, I think he made a horror movie or something.
Yeah.
You should know this.
I haven't seen Meet the Feebles, but I have seen, I think it's Dead Alive.
Yeah, that's the one. Dead
but it has
Alive.
2 names.
Or Brain Dead, as it's otherwise known as.
Yes, exactly. It's 2 names.
Is that the one with
the name
crazy.
of the Lord? I love that fucking
Isn't Dead Alive the one with the lawnmower at the ending?
Yeah.
Yes.
The guy puts a lawnmower in his chest and just runs into a bunch of zombies.
Yes.
It's an awesome scene.
Crazy.
Yeah, I need to, yeah.
It's a great movie. I mean, he hit it with, I think, Heavenly Creatures was his big breakthrough. Mm-hmm. And then, obviously, The Frighteners and stuff like that.
Oh, wait, did he do
Lord of the
Frighteners?
Rings. Yes, he
with
did.
Michael J. Fox?
Yep.
Oh, I love that movie.
New Zealand.
That's a Halloween movie.
It's
great.
Actually, I've never seen Frighteners.
It's good.
But I know it's on TV quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
On TV. Yeah.
So, Dune, you know what? Like, I think they should have just gone straight balls to the wall And as soon as they finished filming the first one, they should have gone right into production for the second one. And it shouldn't have been a question. This series is so big; it's been around since 1965.
Yeah.
Like again, it's untapped movie potential. Like they took Game of Thrones and they ran with that. Right now, Game of Thrones has a spin-off like miniseries on HBO or a full series, whatever. It doesn't make a difference. So like my question is like with all this property, right? Modern day is the big budget superhero action movie, right? Like Dune is almost the same, if not it's a super powered war movie that spans eons and generations,
thousands
of
years,
right?
Yeah.
But does it work?
It gets tricky because Lord of the Rings is finite, to a point. Like the Silmarillion and other books come in there, but it's like this is 3 books of a complete story. Whereas Dune has I don't know how many books, and this first movie is half the first book.
Officially,
like
by
it's
Frank
dense
Herbert,
material.
Dune Messiah, Children of Dune, God Emperor of Dune, Heretics of Dune, and Chapter House Dune. So that's 7 books.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. Yeah. Like I was telling Justin the other night. I said, by the end of God Emperor, like none of the characters, or very few of the characters from the first book, in there, like actually none of them from their original incarnations exist anymore, because it's like 3,000 years later.
Yeah,
they don't need to go that far. They just need to end the movies at a point where it makes sense to.
Well, but that's the thing about Dune, because if you end, so I don't know, Sean, how familiar you are with the end of Dune. I know you said you saw the miniseries, and you've seen Children of Dune, but I don't know if you remember it very much. But there are some spoilers here. I don't know if you want me to. Do you want me to talk about spoilers at all or not?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so in Dune, in the original novel, at the end of Dune, it does end with Paul Atreides, I guess, being the protagonist who has some sort of successful means of becoming like the position that he was trying to get to. I don't want to be too spoiled.
Yeah.
But he becomes all powerful and almighty beyond where his reputation is beyond what his actual capabilities are. And this is something he struggles with as a person in a position of power. And as it goes on into Children of Dune and later God Emperor of Dune, you find that Paul was never going to be able to fulfill the prophecy. And all these people believed in him, and they went on to do things that he's like, I resent all of it to some extent. And I'm not worthy of the path I'm supposed to take. To which his son later does go on that path. But part of Dune is about, there's no like finite ending. It doesn't seem to, because as I said, by the time you get to like Chapter House Dune, we're talking, I guess there's the Bene Gesserits and how they're dealing with the universe, but like Leto, Paul, none of those characters exist anymore. They're so long gone. Maybe their legacies have some sort of influence on the world, but like to have a show go through all of those books as a series, the way what do we talk about there? Game of Thrones did? No, Game of Thrones. Like, you'd have all your cast gone by halfway through the series.
Yeah, but look at Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones went off book very, like, you can argue the same thing, and look how disastrous that was. Not because that these people don't have good potential for good... Like, the thing is that if you take Dune, as it is completed currently, and adapt what you have all the way up until whatever, is it Chapter House Dune?
Yeah.
Can they end it? I don't know anything about that book.
His son, Frank Herbert's son, tried continuing the series, and I think the people who are real big fans of Dune have been like, this just not the same. It's just like, not doing it. And
I would just make the movies up until there's a logical ending, even where the miniseries ended, or maybe just a little bit. The
only logical ending is Dune. You don't even go to Dune Messiah. But then the problem with that is Dune... Yeah, because Dune Messiah leads directly into Children of Dune. Children of Dune leads directly into God Emperor. And when God Emperor ends, then you're going into Heretics. You could end it at God Emperor.
I would end it at God Emperor of Dune. It makes perfect sense.
You'd have to have it so that the Golden Path is completely fulfilled and have some sort of, I guess, happy ending, or be really depressing.
Or adapt it in a way that you don't explain these things, and then logically, as an adaptation, just change a little bit and end it off. You don't need to... You don't need to keep going and keep going. Dune can be a complete, like a three full movie saga that will take 9 movies?
Would.
Half our lifetime now?
Yeah. Like
how many more years do I need to be alive to see the completion of this series? It's way too long.
Sean and I will definitely die of old age.
Yeah, but you're looking at, if you're looking at 9 movies, you're looking at like MCU territory where like you got to be successful. Yeah.
But they did it in 10 years, right? That's all. That's the thing. 1 movie a year. Bang them out.
Yeah, But I wonder if the response to Dune will be as high and whether there's as big a fan base. Like the MCU has Marvel, so that's a huge comic book fan base.
Yeah.
Whereas this is just Dune, and it's not as exciting. It's like art house epic movie making.
It is
it hits
better than.
Yeah, no, it's really good, and I want it to succeed. I want it to keep going. I want to see the sequel. I wonder if you can do movies and then transition over to like a TV series, because streaming is sort of the new future for a lot of content. So, MCU's doing it with Disney Plus. Is Dune, what is it? Is it Warner Brothers? Like, do we know the production house
HBO Max
or the studio?
HBO Max is.
Yeah, there you go. So maybe HBO can
online.
Yeah,
it's Warner Brothers, but HBO Max got the right to distribute it because it was in their big contract. Or they're doing Godzilla versus Kong, Mortal Kombat, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Dune. Before
Matrix.
the new theaters were going to get right. So HBO Max could take it on as a series.
Yeah, if HBO Max wants to compete, then yeah.
The level, the scope in which they did the filming. Like, they filmed, none of that was on a green screen. It's all in the actual desert. I think they were in Abu Dhabi and somewhere in Jordan.
Amazing.
It's beautiful.
Visually just amazing.
From the actor's perspective, they were just like, it was so much better to work with that because they don't have to imagine anything. Other than the sandworm.
Except giant sandworms.
Yeah, but like being in the atmosphere, Lady Jessica and Paul Atreides, Rebecca Ferguson and Timothée Chalamet said that it was just such a visceral experience. Like, they're supposed to be stranded in the desert, and they can feel like it because they're actually wandering the desert on camera. So...
Okay, but so I'm reading on the Dune Wikipedia page right now, and as of June 2019, they're producing a spin-off series for the like a web series, which is going to be called Dune: The Sisterhood. So it's Warner Media streaming service, HBO Max. Series will center around the Bene Gesserit and serve as a prequel to the film. So, Sean, you're already right. They're already thinking, how can we milk this franchise so hard?
Everything now is franchise. Everything is trying to be franchise. Everything's trying to build a world where you can get people invested and continue to get them to buy the content. So it makes sense. It just... Will it succeed?
Dune is successful off of a hardcore fan base. And the issue is that Dune fans have been very disappointed with adaptations. Now, the miniseries has been the closest adaptation. When you watch the David Lynch version, we'll do a podcast for that. You're going to see, Castellios and I watched it, and we were like, nah, this ain't it.
It's so 80s.
We saw where they were going with it. We get the limitations. But you'll see halfway through, they're like, oh, shit, we ran out of budget. And they're just like, all the fucking jihad, rush it.
Great. Did you watch the director's cut or the original?
Whatever was on Netflix.
The Netflix version.
Cut. Oh, okay.
Even then,
it was very long.
The director, David Lynch, didn't give two shits about Dune. You could see it in his filmmaking. He didn't want to do kung fu in space, is what he said.
Or is it kung fu in the sand?
Kung fu in space.
It's funny because
that's what I remember.
He turned down Return of the Jedi and did Dune.
Yeah, but did he read Dune? Because it doesn't feel like it. You'll see. There's scenes that are there, and just the second half of the movie, it's like a Rocky montage of 12 years of war. It's like, I don't think that's how that's supposed to go. Like in the movie, they show when he has some, was it precipice or future sight or whatever? He gets hit by...
Prescience, yeah.
Prescience, that's it. So, precipice is a different word altogether. He has the prescience, or the sight of the Fremen fighting in war. It was that quick shot. It's like a tracking shot.
It's when he first shows his blue eyes, yeah.
Yes, it's the only time you see him with blue eyes. It's supposed to be in the future, and he's fighting alongside the Fremen, and it's awesome. I was like, that's so good. I want to see more of that. It was such a cool shot. How everything's tracking from left to right, and you're following him and all of his guys as they fight. So I'm excited to see how the battle scenes do turn out. But you'll see the David Lynch version, and it's...
You know what my favorite part about Dune is? It was directed by a Canadian. It's my favorite thing about it.
Oh, is he from Quebec?
He did a movie about the Montreal Massacre. The school massacre? Yeah.
Oh, the Polytechnique? The women's school,
another one of his really, really hard-hitting films that I think is extremely... He did Prisoners, Enemy, Sicario, Arrival, Blade Runner.
He did Sicario?
He did Sicario.
Yeah. I love Sicario.
I love Sicario. I finally watched it, actually. It was pretty good.
Arrival. Like, he's exceptional. Like,
yeah.
Enemy was one of my
filmmaker.
favorite movies that I'd seen back in the early.
Got my work cut out for me now. I gotta work up on that Canadian directing title. One day.
Yeah.
Okay, so overall, Sean, what do you give Dune out of, let's say, out of 10?
I have 7.
7?
Nice.
Strong 7.
Do you have like a rating system you'd like to use for your movies with that collection behind you?
I didn't throw up, so I guess that's really the best I could say.
What are those
But no,
figures?
Wait, what
it's
did you
honestly
say?
7
I
out of
didn't
10.
catch it. What was that?
I don't have it. I said I didn't throw up, so.
You didn't throw up. That was your rating?
You asking about the figures behind it?
Yeah. Michael Myers.
Oh, I got
Yeah.
Michael Myers from 2018.
Oh.
Little
Okay.
Action figure.
I don't know.
And then I got Jason from the final chapter.
Oh, final chapter.
Oh,
Yeah.
action
So it
figure?
has the
Yeah.
hole in the
And then-
mask. Oh yeah, nice.
Oh yeah, it has the face.
Oh yeah, nice and ugly.
yeah,
way
the
from
axe
Jason.
from part 3, and then I got
You know, I give.
Boba Fett from 1980.
Oh.
He's like legit. Yeah.
Yeah, but broken backpack.
That's okay.
I'll never
Thanks.
forgive you.
That thing's like way older than Stelios there.
Most things are older than me.
It's true.
I think Dune needs to pick up its steam, get its shit down, and just after this next movie, which will take about 2 years, right? If they're lucky and nothing else happens with the pandemic, just the year after that, like just keep filming, get shit going, and then that way, like Dune will be the sci-fi franchise of the modern age, because like it was like what Matrix early 2000s, and then there wasn't really a long running sci-fi series like. People, I think, were thinking Ghost in the Shell would take that cake, but didn't. That could have
Hunger Games, I guess, is something like that, and like Divergent tried. Like there have been some like youth adult stuff, but not really. I mean, Star Trek, I guess, the mid 2000s, those 3 films.
Dune has such a different. Like when I think franchise, it doesn't feel like Dune almost seems like a
Dune is
protest
an
against
epic.
these things. It's an epic, but it's
Yeah.
not like all of those products, those franchises. They have heroes you can get behind. They're characters you root for, but as you go through Dune, you're like, I don't really know who am I rooting for? It really is a play on people and reality, just pushed into science opera or sci-fi opera or whatever they call it.
Yeah, like I don't know if it'll hit like the fever pitch of like a Star Wars or like a Lord of the Rings, where like those movies became things people would dress up and like go to the Shire and go to wherever, and like they became invested. I mean, it could reach. I mean, Game of Thrones level, but I don't even know what that is.
Game
like,
of Thrones has died down
so
quickly.
Yes.
That's so adult based, whereas Star Wars and Lord of the Rings I think are more accessible from like kids to adults, where the Dune feels a little more mature. I don't know if like a 13-year-old or an 8-year-old would dig it.
Yeah, I mean, a 13-year-old.
I could be wrong.
My buddy Alec, who's like your friend, who's been trying to get me into Dune for 20 years, so he watched it with us. He was like, all things considered, it was a faithful adaptation. He really enjoyed it, and he's looking forward to the sequel. Given he's never really been satisfied outside of the miniseries being the closest thing, but it's very dated.
Yeah.
And seeing the care that was taken in this film, he's like, I know how much he loved Dune. All of the things I know about Dune are from this guy. Like he's read all the books. I have not read them, but I know everything that I can through him, through any type of
I spend ages on the wiki
anything on the
now.
internet. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'll be like sitting on the toilet and I'll be like, what the hell was that about? Like this particular character and this particular sci-fi trope and this, and like I'll just start going through the sandworm hole. Sandworm hole of so many things I need to figure out. Like, what the fuck is going on in Dune?
Yeah. But,
Just, like,
okay, so
by the gun.
he didn't throw up. Sean didn't throw up as this rating.
No.
And, okay, cool. What are you watching next?
I got Dune, the David Lynch one to check out, and then I got Eternal tickets.
Eternals.
For Eternals.
Wait, did you finish Halloween Kills?
Yeah, he saw it in theaters.
We
I saw
gotta
it in
talk
theaters,
about Halloween Kills.
Not today, but
Not today, no.
we could do that next week.
Yeah.
We definitely...
I'm watching it again this weekend.
Okay. Well, I've seen it once. Stelios has seen it once, fully, all the way.
1.5, I give it.
Yeah, 1.5 times, you mean?
Yeah.
All right, we'll get to Halloween Kills later. Okay, that's it for Dune.
Sweet.
I would say check it out. I think it's fantastic. It's not for everyone, But if you do enjoy it, support the
we
film,
didn't welcome
hopefully
anyone
we'll
to
get a
this podcast.
sequel.
We don't have a name for you guys, so.
Yeah, what's the name of this
Figure it out
podcast? All right, we'll come up with a name. Sean, let me know.
Yeah.
What's your podcast name? Was it just Sean Small's podcast?
It was just my name. That was it.
What
Not
was
even
Sean's
podcast.
The Toronto
Small Talk with Sean Small. I like it.
That feels like a show middle-aged parents watch on like a Monday afternoon.
That's even better.
So.
You're close to middle age, right, Randy?
I'm middle-aged now. My beard grows in fully.
We'll figure our name out.
I like Small Talk. It's better than like Smallpox would be even worse. Smallpox with Sean Small and friends.
We'll infect your mind with knowledge and movie trivia and jokes.
Cool. All right, guys, I'm gonna sign off, but that was it.
Peace be unto you, brother.
For anyone watching, the video, follow, like, subscribe, and check out our social channels and the links on our page. Excellent. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.